In the world of attraction and relationships, few things trigger stronger emotions than being ignored. For many men, ignoring a woman seems like a power move, a way to get her attention or spark interest. But what most people don't realize is that there are deep psychological principles behind this behavior. And it's not always about manipulation. In this video, we'll uncover the psychological tricks behind ignoring a woman, how it affects her emotionally, and why it can either make her chase you or push her away forever. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like to the channel and hit the bell for more videos. The law of scarcity. Psychologically, people value what they believe is rare. When you stop chasing and pull back your attention, a woman begins to subconsciously perceive your presence as more valuable. Scarcity makes her curious. It makes her wonder why your attention isn't so easily available anymore. The shift of power and focus. When a man ignores a woman strategically, not out of spite, but out of self-control, the dynamic changes. She starts thinking about him instead of the other way around. Psychologically, this creates what's called a focus inversion, where attention and emotional energy shift in your direction, triggering the curiosity instinct. Human beings are wired to fill in gaps. When you suddenly become quiet, she starts questioning. Why isn't he texting? Did something change? That curiosity becomes emotional engagement. And emotional engagement often leads to attraction. Emotional disruption. Ignoring interrupts emotional patterns. If she's used to getting instant responses or consistent validation, your silence creates a small, emotional void. And nature hates a void, so she fills it with thoughts of you. The power of unpredictability. Psychology shows that unpredictability heightens emotional arousal. When your actions aren't entirely predictable, it keeps her emotionally alert, curious, intrigued, and even slightly uncertain. That mild uncertainty can become emotional excitement. Respecting yourself subconsciously commands respect. When you're too available, it signals neediness. When you step back, it shows you have boundaries, and that's attractive. Ignoring a woman in the right way communicates confidence without saying a word. The reverse validation effect. Usually, women are the ones who receive validation through attention. But when you stop giving it, she subconsciously starts seeking your approval. That reversal shifts her emotional investment toward you. The dopamine withdrawal response. Every time she receives a message, compliment, or attention from you, her brain releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical. When you go silent, that dopamine suddenly drops, creating emotional discomfort. She starts craving your attention again, not because of you, but because of the feeling you give her. It tests emotional maturity. Ignoring a woman isn't just about control, it's about clarity. It reveals who she is emotionally. If she's mature, she'll respect your space. If she's insecure, she'll react with anger or games. Either way, you learn who you're really dealing with. The power of emotional contrast. When you give attention all the time, it loses value. But when you withdraw and then reappear, your attention feels more powerful. That emotional contrast makes your presence feel rewarding again. She starts romanticizing. You distance allows imagination to take over. When you're not around, she starts filling in the blanks, idealizing you, replaying moments, wondering what you're thinking. That mental image can sometimes become stronger than reality. It forces emotional self-reflection. When a woman is ignored, she begins to reflect on her own feelings. Do I actually like him? Why do I care this much? That introspection often clarifies her true emotional attachment. Ignoring resets emotional balance. If she was in control, calling the shots, keeping you guessing, ignoring her balances the scales. It subtly reminds her that attraction should be mutual, not one-sided. The reward and silence cycle. When used sparingly, Alternating between attention and silence amplifies attraction. Give attention when it's earned, then go quiet. The cycle of reward and withdrawal conditions her to value your presence even more. It demonstrates emotional discipline. Most men react emotionally when they feel ignored, chasing, arguing, or begging for attention. But when you can stay calm, centered, and detached, it shows emotional mastery. And emotional control is one of the most magnetic traits a man can possess. The mirror effect. When you pull back, you mirror her energy. It shows her how it feels when effort isn't reciprocated. Often, this makes her more aware of her behavior and encourages her to re-engage more sincerely. It creates respect through distance. Respect often grows in absence. When you stop over-explaining or over-giving, she starts realizing your worth, not because you demanded it, but because she felt the loss of your energy. It breaks the pattern of emotional dependency. If you've been giving constant validation, she's used to emotional dependence. Ignoring breaks that cycle, reminding both of you that attraction isn't about control, but emotional independence. The mystery factor. Psychology proves that mystery heightens desire. When she can't easily predict your emotions or access your attention, you become interesting again. Mystery fuels attraction. Familiarity dulls it. It forces respectful communication. When you stop rewarding games or passive aggression with attention, she eventually realizes the only way to reach you is through genuine communication. That's the moment when the relationship dynamic resets with respect. The attachment system activation. When you ignore a woman, you trigger her attachment system, the same biological mechanism that drives bonding and connection. If she's emotionally invested, your distance activates her need for closeness, making her chase validation to ease that discomfort. The inconsistency effect. Psychological studies show that people are more addicted to inconsistent rewards than consistent ones. When your attention becomes unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes silent, it creates emotional anticipation. That anticipation becomes addictive. The self-comparison loop. When you go quiet, she starts comparing herself to other women, wondering if you're interested in someone else. That subtle jealousy often deepens her emotional investment in you. The why him paradox. When she's ignored, her mind tries to justify why you're acting differently. Instead of thinking you've lost interest, she often convinces herself there's something special about you, that you're different from other men. This self-justification strengthens attraction. Emotional recalibration. Ignoring forces her to evaluate the emotional balance between you two. If she realizes she's been taking your effort for granted, it creates guilt, and guilt often leads to renewed effort. The feminine need for emotional certainty. Women value emotional clarity. When they sense distance, their natural instinct is to restore connection. That's why ignoring, when in short doses, makes her initiate more conversations and seek reassurance. The ego challenge. A woman's ego, like a man's, doesn't like to lose. When she feels ignored, it challenges her pride. And that challenge often makes her want to win your attention back, even if she wasn't deeply interested before. The psychological mirror of value. By ignoring her, you silently communicate, "My time and attention are not cheap." That forces her subconscious to reassess your worth. It's not arrogance. It's self-respect being mirrored back into her perception. The comfort disruption effect. Over time, relationships fall into comfort zones. Ignoring breaks that pattern, shaking up complacency and reigniting emotional awareness. It reminds her not to take you for granted. The emotional investment trap. When a woman keeps trying to regain your attention, she unknowingly invests emotionally. And the more she invests, the stronger her attachment grows, even if she can't explain why. Testing her emotional resilience. How she reacts to being ignored reveals her maturity. If she reacts with anger, guilt tripping, or games, she's emotionally reactive. If she responds with calm curiosity or self reflection, she's emotionally balanced. The self perception shift. When she feels ignored, she questions her own desirability. Did I do something wrong? Am I not enough? Those thoughts often push her to re engage, not just to win your attention, but to restore her self image. The time amplification phenomenon. In silence, time feels slower. A few days of no contact can feel like weeks emotionally. That time distortion amplifies her emotional response, making your eventual reappearance more impactful. The reversal of pursuit. Principal attraction psychology shows that whoever invests emotionally chases. When you stop over-investing, the energy flips. She becomes the one pursuing clarity, validation, or reconnection. The awareness of emotional boundaries. Ignoring isn't about punishment. It's about establishing boundaries. It teaches both of you a lesson that healthy attraction requires mutual respect, not dependency or emotional chasing. Conclusion. Ignoring a woman isn't about cruelty or playing games. It's about creating emotional balance. The key is intent. When done to protect your peace and reclaim your energy, it's self-respect. When done to manipulate, it's immaturity. Ignoring a woman can be powerful, but only when done consciously. The goal is not to manipulate emotions, but to reset energy. It reminds her that your time, your peace, and your attention have value. Used with emotional intelligence, ignoring becomes a silent teacher. It says, I value myself enough not to beg for connection. And that's exactly the mindset that makes a man truly attractive, not just to her, but to everyone around him.